Hello, everyone. Would you want millions of people to go starving on a day-to-day basis, or would you rather these food-scarce areas have sufficient nutrients to live better lives? I think you know the right answer to that question. Today, I will be talking about why GMOs should be used in the case of food deserts. For one, according to the UN, over 800 million people are malnourished, and sadly, children are a good proportion of that group. These people equate to over 10% of the world's population, which can easily be reduced with the help of GMOs to make food more efficient to grow in disadvantageous areas. Even though you may never see 99% of these people, they overall likely will have an impact on your life via the clothes you wear, the food you eat, or even the jewelry you wear. I personally have worked at a couple of soup kitchens as well as donated food to those. So firsthand, I have seen lots of people who do not get enough food to thrive consistently. This truly motivated me to educate myself on possible ways to make food more accessible to people who do not have access to it. Additionally, I have made meals that eventually got shipped to extreme food deserts that have some of the highest percentage of malnourished people in the world. Doing this also inspired me to seek ways to make foods to become cheaper within the US and thus allow foreign countries to gain more food via exports. To help put things into perspective, imagine you were living in a poverty-stricken village that required you to go hunting, and yet you still go hungry constantly and have to walk far just to get sufficient food and water. Then you see a truck come in through the dust clouds, and you're utterly shocked to see what this entails. This truck, come to find out, has meals sent by the UN, and since GMOs were allowed to be used in the process, the truck is plentiful and lets the village thrive for a long period of time. Since the truck also brought seeds and plants to help the village thrive in a self-sustaining manner, you have the ability to plant fruits and vegetables despite the tough ground you experience. With modified seeds, you now have the help to survive and farm on a daily basis for the crops used to feed your farm animals. With what is in the magical truck, your village is self-sustaining, and now you don't have to worry about getting food imported in from some more fortunate countries, despite not having the best climate for plant growth. Now imagine if that truck did not have the hefty resources to fix your starvation of your village. Your village would still be dealing with hunger issues to this day and would still be in a drought that is very hard to grow crops in. I believe that GMO should be used in order to help with world hunger. First, I will discuss the current examples of foods that are sufficient worldwide due to GMOs and more sustainable for that reason. Next, I will talk about the possibilities of what GMOs can do in the future to reduce the number of undernourished people. Lastly, I will talk about both the good and bad of innovating and using GMOs for more efficient food production. So, the usage of GMOs is not an extremely new topic to help make more food for hungry people. Some examples of plants that have already been altered through GMOs include soy plants, golden rice, and tomatoes. According to the UN, these plants are great cases where GMOs have greatly helped the world prevent people from being malnourished. In fact, golden rice has helped prevent children from becoming deficient in vitamin A, which is a serious problem that can cause blindness, which is not a good thing. However, GMOs can also be used to help with better tasting produce and better growth rates and fertility. This means that plants can grow in worse conditions, such as less water and nutrients. This is especially good for areas such as soil in Africa, where the soil is pretty bad unless the people living there till the ground properly and waste a lot of their resources. And if they don't, the crops likely will not grow. However, it is possible that with the use of GMOs, crops can grow better in worse conditions and thrive in better cases. According to the FDA, nearly all types of fruits and veggies have already been genetically modified. For example, in 2017, GMO apples became available for sale in the US. And during the 1990s, the first wave of GMO produce created through genetic engineering became available to consumers, and that included summer squash, soybeans, cotton, corn, and potatoes. An example of the better texture is a UK study in 1999 that found that modifying tomatoes had the ability to soften more slowly, and as a result of an individual gene that softens a fruit, the tomato, that is made to be less expressed so that the tomatoes do not ripen as quickly. This is a good thing for the world as it means the tomato can be stored for longer, thus allowing them to be potentially shipped farther across the world, meaning more people will have access to tomatoes for a longer portion of the year. Additionally, this creates some precedent that humans now have the ability to take away genes of other plants to make their growth even more favorable, maybe even able to grow in drier climates despite needing plentiful water before. This use of biotechnology creates some proof that now humans can innovate plants to add nutrients and vitamins to make plants more efficiently nutritious so that countries with nutrient deficiencies can get the nutrients they need without having to give supplements to their people or get natural foods that may be harder to obtain. Food previously has had great results to prove farming more efficient. So what is there to say that GMOs won't be extremely beneficial to make food more efficiently grown than now and used for future plants? Biotechnology has evolved rapidly to grow more scientifically advanced food. So what the future holds has endless possibilities. Future Possible future transformations for GMOs could eventually lead to animals and even more complex plants such as cereal crops becoming more worldwide and grown fast. Real examples, according to the Scientific American of Animal GMOs, include salmon, pigs, chickens, and sheep. Nonetheless, it'll take a while for these animals to actually be sold to consumers commercially, as you have to prove the animal is still living at a high quality and that the food isn't dangerous to consume under the FDA. For example, the fast-growing salmon took 25 years for the product to be cleared for human consumption. So modifying animals will be beneficial for fixing world hunger in the long run, because it would both fix the annual output of offspring, which would make more food over time, and would also make animals survive more efficiently. This would mean the animals would die at a lower rate and also consume less crops, which would provide more to humans in scarce areas. So indirectly, by modifying the animals, humans would both gain more animal meat in the world, which is highly nutritious, can be made cheaper, as well as more crops overall, which would help worldwide hunger as it would maximize efficiency of the food cycle. So while there are endless possibilities for what GMOs can bring in creating foods for scarce and malnourished people, that logically won't come without side effects, both positive and negative. The main positives of utilizing GMOs on organisms, according to a book titled Genetically Modified Organisms and Regulations Concerning Biotechnological Products, is that it will be found in different levels, but here we will focus on two types of benefits: economic benefits and environmental benefits. This would provide more food to people who need it, and as a result, there will be less hungry people, which solves so many health issues of the world, such as vitamin deficiencies. Therefore, it would probably be beneficial as it has a good chance that it would lower health costs in the long run because the average person could be healthier, requiring less hospital visits in total. Another theoretical benefit is that GMOs allow for cheaper foods to be made as the growth of the organism would be made maximal in its efficiency. This is because plants would grow more efficiently, meaning more can be produced with less energy, meaning supply will increase heavily, making foods more accessible even in food deserts. However, some possible negatives of using GMOs for plants is that there potentially could be inconsistency in politics behind who gets the food. For example, some governments could withhold from giving the new advanced food from all villages because they're selfish and only want to keep innovations for themselves. Additionally, different countries could receive a different proportion of the goods and not receive optimal amounts of food for their whole country, while other countries could get more than plenty for their whole country just because of politics and undisclosed deals with the distributor of the food. However, this problem could be fixed by keeping a close eye on the deals of the transformation of foods so that no countries break any laws trying to stock up the innovations. Logically, of course, there also could be health concerns behind the innovative food, as you don't know what the long-term results are from ingesting the food. However, this shouldn't be a concern as legally, at least in the US, the foods had to have a ton of testing to make sure it's safe short-term for human consumption. So by running extensive tests, the researchers who created new foods will be nearly 100% sure that the food will be safe to consume both in the short and long term. In conclusion, GMOs should be used for making food in food scarce areas because there is already a rich history of GMOs being used. There are limitless possibilities that can happen with making new foods through GMOs. And additionally, there will be positive effects, sadly, some negative consequences with the increase in the usage of GMOs in places that it is needed. Nonetheless, its positives severely outweigh the negatives that are possible to happen. The severe nature of chronic world hunger can easily be fixed and hampered by the usage of GMOs in plants. Lastly, I would like to leave with a quote by a world-renowned biologist. There doesn't seem to be any other way of creating the next green revolution without GMOs, by E.O. Wilson. This shows the severe importance of using GMOs in the future. Any questions? Thank you.